Team, it's the exam coach checking in with you. If you've got exams coming up, you're going to be spending a lot of time hitting the books, trying to get all that information to stick inside your head. In this video, we'll cover 7 of the most effective methods to do just that. All of these methods are backed up by scientific studies done on the best ways to learn and retain information. So let's get into it. When I was at school, I remember seeing my classmates with stacks of immaculately highlighted colourful notepads and flashcards during exam season. And I thought, okay, that seems about right to me. Make a lot of notes, highlight the keywords you need to remember, colour code different themes and topics so they stand out from one another, and as a final step, summarize key bullet points on flashcards. Boom, bosh, cheers. It just makes sense, right? I thought it feels like revision should. A bit of a slog, but you're making progress the more notes, rereading, and highlighting you do. But the research shows these are not actually the most effective ways to revise, even though they may be the most intuitive and what most students use. The most effective way to make your revision impactful so it actually sticks in your brain uses a principle called active recall. Education experts, psychologists, and students have conducted experiments to figure this out. I've linked all the supporting evidence, academic papers, and YouTube videos below if you want to go into more detail on this. But if you're like me and a bit like,
here it is. Show me the money.
Then keep watching. To sum it up, active recall is the act of retrieving information from your brain without having that information in front of you. A simple way to think about it is testing yourself. Looking back on my own exams from GCSE to A-level to university, I probably spent too much time revising. I could have improved how efficient and effective my revision was by doing more active recall techniques and less passive note-taking, highlighting, and staring blankly at flashcards. I know it seems counterintuitive, but improving your ability to recall information is less about the time you spend rereading, rewriting, or highlighting the information. It's more about the quality of time you spend putting in mental effort, trying to recall the information you've just taken notes on once or twice. When repeated over time, this strengthens the brain's ability to recall that information. Think of revision just like you would a workout. Passive revision is like being on a treadmill at the gym at a steady pace. You'll get a good workout in, but it's going to take a while. Active recall is like compound weight movements done with more intensity for a shorter period of time. For less time invested, you'll get a better workout in and greater results. Let's get into these 7 tips. Number 1, do a practice test at the end of your study session. Whilst you're reading through your textbook or your revision guide and taking notes, get a separate sheet of paper, write out questions for yourself on that sheet of paper related to the topic you're taking notes on. Then after you finish taking notes, put the notes and books away or just lob them across the room, send it. Then try to answer the questions you wrote down on the other sheet of paper. That's some real sweet active recall right there. Tip number 2, create a fact sheet. Down one side, you write the questions. Down the other, you write the answers to those questions. Then take another piece of A4 paper and fold it lengthways in half. Now, here comes a bit of active recall magic. Place the piece of paper you fold in half over the top of the answers and boom, away you go. And the reason why we folded this in half is so we've got 4 different testing repetitions. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back. Cracking bit of active recall. If you don't want to do it the old school way, you can also use a spreadsheet, a text document, or a notes app on your phone. Just make sure you turn the text white so you can't see it and apply the same testing method, only you're typing instead of writing. I personally recommend the writing method just because if you're going to be writing in the exam, you may as well practice like it's the real thing. This technique is especially good for learning word-for-word scientific definitions, historical dates, and vocab translations. Tip number 3, for essay subjects, crack out an unassisted mind map. Step 1, create a perfect essay plan using textbooks and revision guides in a spider diagram or mind map format. Step 2, try to reproduce it on a blank sheet of paper without referring to it. If you're struggling, just try to reproduce one part of the essay plan and work your way up. Step 3, repeat periodically until you have it nailed. Number 4, testing yourself inside your head. This is a really intuitive one, but literally just asking yourself questions, checking that you know stuff inside your head is a form of active recall. You can use questions or prompts on your phone if you need something to get you going whilst you're on the move. The best thing about this technique is you can do it anytime, any place, and nobody's going to know you're revising. Number 5, talk things through with someone else. Ping a few questions about to one another. Chuck in a bit of banter to keep it lighthearted, and this really helps because neither of you have the information in front of you. You're also making great use of time, and you're making your brain work harder by having to explain the information to someone in a way they can understand. That's active recall for you. Tip number 6, become the teacher. Have a study sesh with someone and actually teach them the topic. Walk them through it and get them to do the same for you for another topic. Give each other some time to prepare beforehand, or just crack on and dive straight in if there are topics each of you are confident about. This saves time for you both, as you're getting twice as much work done in the same amount of time. Number 7, write down everything you can recall about a topic without having any notes in front of you. Try to divide it into subtopics if you can so it's organized. Then compare it with the notes you've already made on the topic. This is great for identifying what you do and what you don't know, and therefore it's going to help you figure out what you should be doing in your next active recall session. Okay, so with all these tips, they don't work if you do them just once. You need to repeat the testing process at regular intervals or at increasingly spaced out intervals of time in order to keep your brain working to remember the information. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up down below. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and subscribe for more content like this in the build up to your exams. I'm checking out.